What's up, movie crew? Welcome to the latest collection video. I did not realize this, but I have not done one of these in a little bit. And given what I've been watching recently, I thought I would show off my movies from the man himself, Christopher Nolan, who is probably my favorite of the modern directors out right now. Before I get into this, if you are new to this channel, my name is Luke, this is Let's Watch a Movie, and if you're into anything cinema and physical media related, you've come to the right place, so hit that subscribe button. Alright, so I am going to show off each movie in order from his first movie to his most recent. I will not be including the movies where he was a producer. These are directorial features only. I will be showing off Man of Steel and Batman v Superman in a future video, and I don't really want to show off Transendence. Can we not? Anyway, let's get into this. Following, this is Nolan's first movie, shot in black and white. This is definitely the first movie, too, where you see Nolan do the non-linear sequences that he is known for, more specifically with Memento, Insomnia, and he's even done it a little bit with Dunkirk and Tenet. So this is his first movie. This was also one of the first criterions that I added to my collection. And it's cool watching this, just seeing where he started at to where he is now. And not only that, but him and his wife pretty much did all the behind the scenes stuff. They were the producers, they were the cinematographers, they were the directors of photography. And according to one of the actors later on, they were also catering. One of the other things included in this is his short film Doodlebug. It is one of, I believe, 3 short films that Nolan did before making Following. As far as my personal views on the movie, it's definitely a little bit lower on the list, but that does not mean it's a bad movie. It's just, you can very much tell it's Nolan's first movie. Memento. The movie that introduced most people to the man himself, Christopher Nolan. This movie is great. Now I want to point out, I like the movie, so don't think I'm hating on the movie with what I'm about to say, but I do think a lot of people probably like this movie more than I do. I think it's a good movie. I love watching it. Guy Pearce does his thing as in the lead role. But there's still a lot left to be desired. And I think he has definitely stepped up as a director since this release. Now, I've heard rumblings that apparently someone's trying to do a Memento remake. Please don't. I don't care what the reasons are. Do not remake this movie. Unless Nolan wants to go back and do something himself, I don't want a remake of this movie. Alright. So, if you've seen other videos and you know I'm a DC Comics fan, you know I'm a Batman fan, in some of my videos I'm even wearing a Batman shirt. But here's a shocker. My introduction to Nolan was not the Dark Knight Trilogy. It was Insomnia. Around the time I watched this, I was really into some of the mobster movies that Al Pacino had done. Like Scarface, Donnie Brasco, Carlito's Way. I loved those movies when I was a teenager. Still love those movies, by the way. But the thing I liked with this specifically was after seeing him play the bad guy, turning around and seeing him play the good guy. He is the protagonist in this movie, and Robin Williams is the antagonist. This movie was great to see two actors I love seeing on the big screen step out of their norm. Seeing Al Pacino in the lead role in this was amazing. Seeing Robin Williams as the antagonist was what made me go back to watch 1 Hour Photo, which, no offense to this, but 1 Hour Photo is probably my favorite Robin Williams movie, and I would not have checked it out had it not been for this. So it's a little hard for me to rank this because it's not Nolan's best movie. I definitely think it did not need to be 2 hours and 10 minutes. But it is still a really good movie and it's worth checking out. And I can't give it a low ranking because it's got so much sentimental value to me. We're going to have a couple hot takes here in a minute. Batman Begins. Alright, so being someone who grew up reading comics and watching all the movies that had the superheroes and various superhero-related movies, when I got to be a teenager, I wasn't really as interested in it because at that time I was running track. I was more focused on that sort of stuff than comics. So when X2 and Spider-Man 2 got me into watching superhero stuff again, I was wondering when we were going to get a Batman movie, and we did with Batman Begins. So the thing I love about this movie is the fact that all the Batman movies, as much as I love them, we always get the same villains. Alright, every iteration so far has had Catwoman. Every iteration has had Penguin just about. Every iteration has had the Joker. In this one, we got Ra's al Ghul and Scarecrow. Two characters that had never been on the big screen before. As a matter of fact, both characters only had a handful of episodes in the animated series. And Ra's al Ghul is one of my favorite Batman villains. So seeing that character brought to life was great. So my hot take is, I don't think anyone's going to deny that The Dark Knight is the better movie. Like, you don't have to be a comic book person to sit down, watch The Dark Knight, and enjoy it. That and Logan just transcend a lot of stuff. But this movie has enough of the comic book elements that it makes me happy to watch this one, and I get a lot of enjoyment from watching this one. I also want to point out, I do have the Dark Knight Trilogy Blu-ray set that's got the bonus disc, and I have all three on Steelbook, but I'm just trying to show off one at a time for this video. The Prestige. So, at the time when Batman Begins came out, I did not have my license. I was not old enough to drive. But I was old enough to drive when this hit theaters. So I went to see this, and one of the things that me and one of my friends always joked about was, yeah, we're going to see Batman and Wolverine in the same movie. This is going to be awesome. And while that was kind of what got both of us interested in watching it, both of us left the movie completely forgetting about the fact that Christian Bale had just been Batman, or that Hugh Jackman was getting ready to put on the claws for what we thought may have been the last time. As you know, we were wrong. We were just talking about how amazing this was and how some of the stuff went over our heads, and the twist at the end, it is still a great movie to watch. And this was definitely the first of the Nolan movies I saw in theaters. Alright, the one I know everyone's ready for me to get to. The Dark Knight. Like I said when talking about Batman Begins, this is definitely the better made movie. Heath Ledger's performance as Joker is iconic, something that has now been into the comics. Like, this is one of those things that did so well that the comics started adapting the movies. Seeing Batman not starting to question his own moral integrity and where the line is and where he should and shouldn't cross. So the internal issues with Batman mixed with the chaos of Joker and then the unknown factor of Harvey Dent just made this a very compelling movie. Little known fact, I saw this movie in theaters 4 times. I saw it opening weekend. At one point, a couple of my friends and I thought there was a chance this would surpass Titanic. If you have seen the all-time movie grossings, you know that did not happen. But we went again because we thought us seeing it again would help this movie surpass Titanic. And then another one of my friends who's not a Batman fan was like, well, I want to go to the movies, but there's nothing playing. I'm like, all right, well, we're going to see The Dark Knight if I have to pick. And he was like, all right. So there was the 3rd time. And then the 4th time, I don't even remember. It was just, hey, let's go see The Dark Knight again. So I saw this in theaters 4 times. One of, I want to say 3 movies I have seen that many times in theaters. And I do not regret it one bit. So this next movie, I personally love it. It is probably my favorite Nolan movie, but I do know that as time has progressed, this has not necessarily been the same view as everyone else. And that is Inception. So you've got the dream world, you've got them going different layers inside the human mind, you've got this nice heist film, but you've also got someone who wants to see his kids again. I mean, what more could you ask for? This movie, to me, has a whole lot going for it. It was one of the more enjoyable movies I saw in theaters. It was cool seeing something based off of an original idea, something we weren't getting a lot of at the time. I mean, even now, like, a lot of the original movies that we're seeing are independent features. This is one of the few times at this particular time frame when we got an original feature that wasn't a sequel, an adaptation, a reboot, any of that stuff. And I think it stood above the rest because of it. Unfortunately, Warner Brothers did not see it the same way because we didn't see more original features. But personally, I love this movie, highly recommend it. And to those that don't enjoy it, I get it, but it's still my favorite Nolan movie. The Dark Knight Rises. Alright. Say what you want about this movie, but this movie is not a bad movie. Yeah, they could have cast someone a little bit bigger than Christian Bale to play Bane, but how many people go around using the Bane voice? Say what you want, a lot of you subliminally have some positive things to say about this movie. Overall, I thought it was a good ending to the trilogy. It was cool seeing Bane again. This time, say what you want, Tom Hardy's portrayal was way better than what we got in Batman and Robin. Tell me I'm wrong, I dare you. I also enjoyed Anne Hathaway as Selena Kyle. I thought she did a great job. So yes, I enjoy this one. I know it's not everyone's favorite, but personally, I thought this was a decent movie. Alright, so this is a weird one for me to talk about, and that is Interstellar. Alright, so when this movie first came out, I was obviously hyped because it's a Nolan movie. I knew moving forward we were going to be getting more original stuff from Nolan now that he had fulfilled his commitment to Batman. And also around this time, he was a producer on Man of Steel, but he just did it to help Zack Snyder get things off the ground. This was the next big thing for him. At almost 3 hours long, this was a little bit difficult for me to watch the first time around. When it goes to the sci-fi movies I like Alien, I like Species, I like the sci-fi movies that have horror elements in them. Nolan has cited 2001 Space Odyssey as his favorite sci-fi movie. Huge hot take here, that is probably my least favorite Kubrick film. By the way, Kubrick collection coming soon. Anyway, the first time around I watched this, we saw a late showing because one of my friends had to wait for a later showing. And this was not an easy watch. I don't know if I've mentioned or not in any of my other videos, but there is a second movie theater in my area. It's a second run theater. They play movies before the movies hit VOD, DVD, Blu-ray, streaming services, so on and so forth. So I thought I would give this another chance. Not to mention, starting with The Dark Knight, I saw The Dark Knight, Inception, and Dark Knight Rises multiple times in theaters. Inception, Dark Knight Rises, saw both of those twice. So with Interstellar, I was like, alright, I gotta keep this thing going of seeing Nolan's movies multiple times in theaters. The second time around, I enjoyed this. And when I bought the Blu-ray, because 4K didn't come out right away, I enjoyed it a little bit more. Like, this has slowly been moving up in my personal rankings for Nolan movies. And it's definitely something that has gotten better with each viewing. I do think the third act is still a little weird, but this went from being my least favorite Nolan movie to, I don't want to say it's my favorite because it's not, but it still moved its way up since the first time I saw it. So if you've only watched it once, sit down and watch it again. Dunkirk. Being someone that's a fan of war films, when you hear that one of your favorite directors is going to make a war film, and because of his track record, he is being given big budget movie money to do the war movie he wants to do, I'm sold. I'm in. That was all I needed. So one of the things I like about this one compared to a lot of the other war movies that are out there, most of them are normally like a drama or some level of action. This one is more of a suspense film. And I'm not saying the other war movies aren't suspenseful. But one of the things that Nolan said when showing off this movie, he said, I can't tell you to enjoy the movie, that would be weird, but experience the movie. And this movie was definitely an experience the first time I saw it. Unfortunately, the second time around, there weren't that many people in the theater, so it was not quite the same for me that time around. But it is still a good movie. If you're a World War II person, definitely check this one out. And obviously, if you're a Nolan person, check this one out, because one of the things that I liked was that this is one of Nolan's shorter films at 1 hour and 48 minutes, I believe. And finally, the most recent theatrical release from Christopher Nolan, and that is Tenet. So, I don't know a nice way to put this. I don't like this movie. I felt like the score went over the dialogue to the point where it just made the film feel unfinished. there's parts of it where it just feels like, as much as I like Nolan's movies, there's come a point where I feel like even he has kind of started following his own hype. And he kind of got into that with this movie. And it falls flat with me. This ended my streak of watching Nolan movies multiple times in theaters because this came out in 2020. And it had like 2 or 3 showings. It was 2 hours and 2.5 hours. And I did not enjoy it. When I bought the Steelbook, because I own all the other Nolan movies. I still don't enjoy this movie. Robert Pattinson did his thing. And I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank, but John David Washington, he did his thing. He definitely proved that he is leading man material. But overall, definitely, if I were to do a let's rank for the Nolan movies, this one's going to be at the bottom. So my current thoughts on Nolan's next movie, Oppenheimer, which is going to be out in July 2023. I am looking forward to it. Keep in mind, this is the only Nolan movie I genuinely do not like. So, him and Cillian Murphy have done multiple movies together. All of them have been very good. He's got a huge cast on this movie. And it's going to be interesting to see Nolan do a movie with another studio. This is his first movie since Memento, where he is not working with Warner Brothers. After the debacle with HBO Max, he has decided to go to Universal. I'm still optimistic with Oppenheimer. I do think it's going to be a good movie. I just hope that he doesn't overdo it with the non-linear stuff and doesn't make the movie too long. Like, one of the things I loved about Dunkirk was it was an hour and 45 minutes. Dark Knight Rises, I do think, earned its near 3-hour runtime. Interstellar, it took me a few watches to actually thoroughly enjoy it, and that runtime is still a little bit much for me. Tenet's not even the longest movie in his filmography, and it's fairly low on the list for me. So Nolan, please do not make Oppenheimer a 3-hour long movie, or if so, split it into 2 parts. Alright, that is it for this video. If you would like me to do a let's rank of the Nolan movies, comment down below. My next collection video will be my Kubrick collection. I will also be doing another Let's Rant. Thank you to everyone that has checked that out. And as always, if you are new to this channel, hit that subscribe button. You like what you see, leave a thumbs up. Comment down below, what's your favorite Nolan film? What was your introduction to Christopher Nolan? But that's going to do it for this one. Thank you all for watching and tune in next time.